Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the show at Rise Up Show. It's me, your host, the Queen Bee, Dani. How are you feeling? As we chat this morning to the devilishly handsome, the fabulously wonderful, the incredibly knowledgeable Mr. Fidel Hill, the modern man. Good morning. Jodie Sol, good morning. Fabna Reddy, good morning. Elise Woodbine, good morning. The devilishly handsome Ian Dixon, good morning, sir.
Shut up, for fuck's sake. Jesus.
The fantastic Lizzie Jackson Barrett, good morning. Josephine Sandra, everybody, good morning. Happy Wednesday, you bonny sods. Get on in here. How are you all? Welcome to the show, Rise Up Show this morning. I am your host, Dani Wallace. I am the Queen Bee, and I don't know what's happening with my hair. Wait one sec. Hang on. Let me fix myself. Oh, I don't know. Good morning, everybody. How are you? It is Wednesday, which in the land of IATQB, what is this? In the land of IATQB delivery, it's Be Heard Day. So all of my Be Heard lovelies, make yourselves known. Come on in here. Let's have a little bit of morning goodness and readiness for this evening. So those of you that are on Be Heard is my public speaking program that I open the doors to twice a year. We are over the halfway mark now. We've only 3 weeks left of this particular run of Be Heard. And it's been amazing. So I'll be delivering that this evening for my lovely Be Hearders, which I'm very, very excited about. So good morning to all of you. I did a post yesterday. It was a bit of a thing. Although in my mind at the time, and even in the run up to me posting it, I didn't think it was like a big thing. Now, I've been speaking for a long time about inclusion, about diversity. I've never made any secret of the fact that, you know, on a sliding scale of sexuality and fluidity, I would probably sit around the pansexual area. But I did a post yesterday, actually sort of saying that in not like a passing comment, in a show of, I guess, solidarity for people out there who may feel like they aren't wholly straight, was probably the best way that I could put it, and felt as a result sort of a little bit inside or a little bit outside of what is considered normal. Now, this is something that I've always had. This is something that I've always thought about, but I never had the words to articulate it. And in the past couple of years, being an ally, educating myself so I can speak to properly and with love and without harming my LGBTQ plus friends, I realized that actually there are words for how I was feeling. So I did a post yesterday that talked about the fact that your girl isn't necessarily straight, and that's okay. And that didn't mean that all of a sudden I am coming out and I'm gay and I'm all of this. It wasn't that. It was that actually there is a whole load of different types of labels, you want to call them, different types of sexuality out there, and straight isn't just one of them, and gay isn't just one of them, and lesbian isn't just one of them, and bi isn't just one of them. And when I heard and explored more about pansexuality, I realized that's actually how I connect with people. So even though I'm in a completely loving, monogamous, committed relationship with my husband, that doesn't detract from the fact that I connected with him based on connection, based on his personality. There's this, when it was Pansexual Awareness Day just a couple of weeks ago, I saw the phrase hearts not parts, and that really, really resonated with me. I think, yeah, absolutely. I would never have been averse to having a relationship with a woman or somebody non-binary or a member of the trans community. Like, none of it would have bothered me as long as I'm connecting. That's not to say that the relationship that I've got with my husband isn't, I'm not in it for the long run all of a sudden, or all of a sudden in my coming out that I'm going to be seeking alternative relationships. That isn't the case at all. It was just understanding myself as a whole, and it was something that certainly during Pride Month that I wanted to not be okay with, because I was always okay with it, but actually share that little bit of myself that I might not necessarily been as vocal about, and in hope that if any of you, and what was very interesting is that off of the back of that post yesterday, so many of you, I was inundated with messages both on Instagram and on Facebook of people who felt the same way, that they didn't feel like they had the words, people who have been ashamed of how they're feeling and didn't know how to put it into words. And somebody had said, why do you feel the need to do this? Why do you feel the need to say these things? And again, as part of my ongoing journey as an ally, for my LGBTQ plus friends, my Black friends, my brown friends, for my friends as an ally, I've got to be able to understand that as long as there are queer people out there who would rather die, and this is the way that genuinely some people feel, and it was really shocking for me the more that I sat with it and the more that I realized that actually I've been distancing myself from the community, sitting myself on the outside of it, when actually I'm a member of the community. That if there are queer people out there that would rather die than be queer, then there needs to be people who are brave enough to put themselves on the front line and say, hey, do you know what? You're not on your own here. This is something that is real and is valid. And, the question, is it queer enough? It comes up. And again, that's something that I saw, like every single person who sits left of the middle or definitely not wholly straight, it's like, do I even come out? Is there anything to come out about? And the answer is, as time goes on, probably not. But whilst people still feel the need to hide and be scared of who they are, then the people who are brave enough to be able to say it's okay to feel how you're feeling is necessary. And that's, I guess, what Pride is all about. So thank you at the top end of the show. And I just wanted to address that right at the top end of the show. Thank you for all of your messages, both messages that were asking questions. A lot of the LGBTQ plus community for the longest time have been in a position of educating. They call it the emotional labor. They call it, the work. And it's something that I have benefited from. And it's, it's something that is, necessary for us to talk about. So thank you for asking questions. Thank you for your show of solidarity. Nobody was rude or unkind or, or horrid about it. And for that, I'm really, really grateful. Again, it's not something that I've been massively hiding from, just hiding in plain sight, just thinking that this is just a bit of me. It's something that I'd already spoke to my husband about, something we'd always talked about for as long as we were together. But actually putting myself out there like that made me feel a little bit nervous. Have I done the right thing there? Am I embarrassing myself by talking about this? And the answer is, of course, no. I have to think, what would I say to somebody if somebody came to me and had that conversation? And actually, with the most loving of intentions, it always boils back to the fact that if somebody out there is feeling ashamed of who they are, and they saw my post yesterday and they was like, oh my God, I identify with that, I don't feel quite so on my own again. Isn't that what being proud is all about? It's about being proud of yourself, whoever you are, however you sit, whoever you love. And it isn't about what's between your legs. It's not about the sordidness of that. It is about love and the fact that love is love. So thank you to all of my incredible community, to all of my queen bees, king bees, royal bees, sovereign bees, bloody awesome people for being so beautiful and supportive with regards to that post and with me, and for asking questions and for showing your support and for, saying thank you. You are a bunch of legends. And as I explore more about what does sharing truth look and feel like, and still sit within my moral compass, and it's great to be able to share that journey with you. It's great to be able to share that bit of myself. So huge love to all of you, and a very happy Pride Month. Happy Pride nails. On the show this morning, completely off topic there, but I did want to just say that on the top end of the show, I want to introduce you, my wider audience, because those of you that work with me will know this person really well. I want to introduce you to somebody who is so incredibly special to me, to the team, and to the community, my clients and people that work with me. Often, and we were talking to Sky Barber yesterday about the importance of team, and that businesses often do well when you focus from the team up and not from the outside in. And that's something that within IATQB, I would like to think that I pride myself on. When it comes to having a team and you are a creative and you start to expand, it's the way that it feels is kind of like I need a whole bunch of carers. And this lady is absolutely probably carer in chief. She's the keeper of the diary and also has a phenomenal business herself. Please welcome my lady in waiting, but also PA to the stars, the glorious Anna Foxx. Good morning.
Good morning. That's quite an intro. That's quite an intro.
But tell me any of it isn't true.
Yeah, when you put it like that. When you put it like that.
I love it. It's got, good morning, my angel.
Good
I know
morning.
You're feeling a little bit nervous this morning.
I am. I'm a behind the scenes person. I don't really do the publicy stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna just like waffle.
That said, me and you have been working together for a couple of years now. And yes. You have been with IATQB since the start, since in this particular fruition, since we kind of became official, and it became very clear that me being me, I wasn't going to be able to grow a strong and sustainable business without a wing woman.
And I do have to say, I love my title of Lady in Waiting. It is like by far of all the people I work with, it's my favourite like job title. Lady in Waiting.
It is, and like if you think about the way that the royal family is set up, and you think about the Queen's actually closest confidant, her ally, the one who does the organising, the one who keeps everything tight for is her lady in waiting. It's not like having a servant. It's like having somebody by your side, making sure that the world is spinning around you so that you can do all the things that you need to do. And what you do is invaluable, but you don't just do. I love all of the love that you're getting here, by the way. We've got Louisa Heritage, we've got Becky. Good morning, Becky. Anna is amazing. Aww. Everything she does is just wonderful. Such a beautiful and incredible person. I would be inclined to agree. Louisa Heritage, we love you, Anna. Stacey Calder, Foxy. Anna could be lead Be Heard, no danger. She's done Be Heard that many times now that you could probably lead it yourself.
There have been a couple of times I know where like the internet's dropped out saying you've disappeared on a Zoom. I'm like, right, I'm just gonna do the stuff. But I don't quite talk like you, and I certainly don't write like you. But I'd give it a crack. Now I know the trick.
I was going to say, now you know all the secret tricks and all the secret sauce in the background. And it's been a bit of a journey though, hasn't it? Not just working for IATQB. We'll talk about that in just a second, but tell us about your business, because you don't just work with me, and it isn't a case of you working for me. We work very much together. Like I just said to everybody, it's like you're my carer for the most part, like making sure that I've done everything that I need to do.
So I used to be a primary school teacher, like back along, and I think some of those herding children skills are quite useful today. Then I was an employee for quite a long time, and then I was made redundant, and then I fell into a networking job, and that's where I met lots of small business owners doing lots of really cool things, and first came across the whole idea of a role of a VA, and which I'd never heard of. I didn't realise it was a thing. And I looked at the way I was working within this company and thought, well, I'm working virtually anyway. Yeah. And I met these other VAs and was like, well, if they can do it, then why can't I do it? And it was a really scary decision, but I thought I'm just going to take the plunge. And I met you and various other people quite early on, like very early on, actually, even before I actually started. And the term VA didn't sit well for me, because virtual for me, and it's what I do is the same as a virtual assistant, but I didn't want to be positioned as being virtual, it
feels quite separate, doesn't it?
It does. So I wanted to be a freelance personal assistant, because as you've just described, the relationship we have is very personal. It's more than just do this work, do this thing. It's the confidant, it's the chewing over ideas, it's the just taking care of you and my other clients so that you can go and do the stuff that you do really well. And then I take care of all the little nitty gritty bits. But, you know, we are physically 7 hours apart.
Yeah.
But before lockdown, like I'd come up to you, you've come down to me, you know, I will travel to be where you need me if you need me in a physical space, but I don't feel like a virtual assistant.
It doesn't feel like you're a virtual assistant. Like, I mean, we're constantly on Messenger, we're on the phone, we have weekly meetings, we do all of those things that we would do if we were in the same office block on different floors.
Yeah.
You know, then
exactly.
we don't get the same kind of, do you need a coffee sort of thing, but that we would do for each other anyway. And I think that, I mean, we started working together on a basis that we were friends first, didn't we? That was, and there's lots of people out there that say you can't be friends with your team, you can't, you know, the business. It was interesting. I was interviewing somebody just last week, and they said that you can't mix business with pleasure, and that was a fallacy. Like the fact that you can't mix business and pleasure or business and friendships. What do you think about that?
I think all my clients are my friends.
Don't think they are. They are. Like I know a lot of your clients.
They either like they were friends first, and then we worked together, or through working so closely together, they've become friends. But I did with you. I have contracts in place with everyone before I start, because yes, you've got the friendship element, but when it comes to business, for both your sakes, for your sake and for your client's sake, you do need to have some boundaries, and you do need to have that professional respect, because let's face it, all sorts of relationships break down for all sorts of reasons. Friendships, marriages, all sorts of relationships. So much as we're all friends now, you can't perceive what's going to happen in a year or 5 years, or something might happen, and you need that protection for yourself and for your client. So I've always had contracts with everyone I work with before I start, just because. But you know, there is that element of, well, with friendships, because yes, we have a professional relationship, but if I'm having a bad day and I'm not able to get to something, I can let you know. And as it's that honest communication, which I think you have more easily with friends, you have that greater capacity for that compassion with your friends than maybe you would with somebody who's just an employee, or just somebody working for you. And it also helps me to feel like I want to do more than maybe you'd get from somebody who you have a very strict professional relationship with, because you care about the person, because they're your friend. So, and you know, the clients I work with, you know, I've obviously been through quite a lot in the last year, and my clients were the people, like in lockdown last year, because you were my friends, you were the only people I really had any contact with. You were the people that just kept me going. My business and the friendships I had within my business were what just kept me going. I had, you know, I don't think it's an accident that I have the people around me that I do. No. And you are the people who just kind of pulled me through. And at the end of it, you know, my business is still going really well. And I have some incredible friendships. And these are people who I've known for less than, or just over 2 years.
This is an interesting concept and relatively new to you, Anna. When we first met, you was like, I remember, and we're friends with a group. There was like a group of us online who originally met through networking and have forged really heart-centered relationships, real friendships, both from a business perspective. Lots of us have done collaborations. Like if we look, Stacey Calder's just in here, who we love. You know, I've collaborated with Stacey before today. She's a friend. Me and you work together. It is incredible when you build those relationships, but they don't always have to be forged in real life. And I think that's certainly something that we've been made to learn over lockdown, but actually it was a relatively new concept to you, wasn't it, when you and I first met? I mean, I don't do social media. I've never really done social media. I'm like trying to pull her onto Facebook all the time.
I'm not active on social media. So the idea that you could be friends like with people that you've never met in real life was really aliens. But we we were in this closed Facebook group where, you know, the connections and the relationships with people were really intense.
Yeah.
And I mean, you mentioned Stacey. Stacey and I were booked in to go to an event. We'd only communicated through Facebook and Messenger. I don't think we'd even had a phone call. And we just agreed to share a hotel room. And then I was like, I think we actually better should speak before we actually share a room. And when we got to our hotel room after the event, before the sort of the night out, we sat down with a brew and we just chatted like we were old friends, like we'd known each other for years. We'd never met in real life. We'd only known each other online for about 2 months, 3 months. And then we were chatting like, you know, old friends. And it's
old manners.
And it's not like that with a lot of people who I met. Like, so the clients I met was through this kind of online space. And
yeah,
you know, you can have really incredible connections with people without having to have you know, that necessarily that in real life experience. And the other fallacy is I've heard people say before, oh, I've got enough friends in my life, I don't need any more. Or people are friends with people they've known since childhood and they're very closed off to the idea of, you know, I've got my group. What do you call it? Your bucket or whatever. You've got
Pokemon ball.
Your Pokemon ball. That's the one. You've got your friends and you don't need any more. And it's like, I'm 44 this year. And some of the absolute closest, best friends I have in my life, the people who would drive 7 hours to meet me in a hotel room at 1 a.m. in the morning, or jump on a Zoom.
Anybody that would do that.
Or jump on a Zoom at 11 o'clock at night, like 10 of you, when I'm having a meltdown, just to put me back together. You know, these are people I've known for barely 2 years, and I'm, you know, in my 40s. So that you are never, ever too late to make a best friend or to make some really intense, life-changing connections. You just have to be open to it.
Yeah, I mean, because I guess prior to us meeting and prior to, you know, our particular circle of friends meeting, you were on a particular trajectory, doing things, living your life in a certain way, and that has gone in a phenomenal different direction now. In a way that seeing you, I mean, as your friend and as somebody who's in very much an integral part of our business, seeing you grow in such a way because of your situations and not despite your situations, like because of your situation, has been beautiful to see. But it's been daunting at times, hasn't it? And for some of you out there, like the reason why I wanted Anna to come on the show this morning is because we see a lot of people out there making these changes and doing a lot on social media to share like their whole journey on the outside and what that's like, and it's all perfect and all, but it's been gnarly, hasn't it? It's been a gnarly couple of years.
It has. And you know, there's been times, like there was a point 15 months ago when the noise that was going on in my life, I felt like the only way to make it stop was to stop being the person I was becoming. So I was always somebody who never fitted in. I was bullied all the way through school, as I know many people have bad school experiences. And I never really felt like I fitted in anywhere. I'm a bit Marmite. People either get me or they don't. Again, that's something a lot of us can relate to. I sometimes can be a little bit sensible and a little bit particular about stuff.
I love that you're sensible.
And sometimes people don't always like that. So I always struggled to find my space. And, you know, I was very dutiful and I did as I was told and I followed the rules and I made sure everybody else was happy. And there wasn't really very much for me. And it was fun kind of finding, you know, starting my own business and did some NLP and did some work on myself. And I just found that inner confidence. And I found that place where I fitted in with a whole bunch of other people who don't feel like they fit in. It's like birds of a feather. And I just, as I grew in my own confidence and found my place, it made me open my eyes to the things that I'd been squashing that weren't right in my life, which led to the breakdown of my marriage, which has been a really difficult period. But yeah, I have to just kind of, you know, when I that's what I was going to say. So March kind of last year, I felt the only way to stop all of the noise was to stop being the person I was happy to become.
Yeah.
And I deleted like 350 people off Facebook, just delete.
Yeah, including me. Like, it was everybody. Like, you just like, it was like with a scythe, you went, ha ha.
And it felt at the time like that was the only thing I could do. And I know sometimes people get quite twitchy about why somebody unfriended me or why somebody unfollowed me. And you don't always know what's going on in someone's head, because on the outside they might seem happy and confident and they've got their shit together.
Right.
And actually they haven't. And I pushed away all the people who were the right people to help me. And I knew I shouldn't do it. And I was just hitting that self-destruct button.
There's a lot of fear. A lot of people feel like this. They start to see the potential of who they can become. And then like almost dip their toe in, see, and then, oh no, burn it to the ground. It's not for me. This isn't right. It doesn't feel right. And it doesn't feel right because it feels different. And I think that was a massive recalibration for you, wasn't it? Where you was like, it does feel right. I'm feeling loads of joy here, but I'm getting so much friction and I'm getting so much resistance from the life that I know that it mustn't be right, because this is the life that I know. And if I'm getting that much resistance from the life that I know, it can't be right. And then, of course, and so many people, like Anna, so many people do this. They hit the button and they burn it to the ground, or that, you know, they'll hit self-destruct. And it's so difficult being a friend and seeing you do that. Even more difficult being you and doing that, though.
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of friends don't realize, is when your friend is going through that's harder.
Yeah. And the thing was, because I had such incredible people around me, they weren't going to let me hit that self-destruct button. and it's kind of like, I guess you could fall into one or two camps, either well, screw you, it's your life, and just you, if that's what you want to do, then fine. Or which is what you and some of my other incredible friends did, go, absolutely not, we're not letting you do this. And you came and like pulled me out of my abyss. And, you know, and it's happened a couple of times since, where I've kind of gone into this really kind of like dark, like I just can't cope with the world space, and I've kind of shut everybody off. And then you kind of pulled me back out again. And now I can sort of feel when I'm going to do it. And then I talk about it so that I don't do it. So there's been, you know, I don't think I will do it again, because I recognize the signs in myself now, because I've had the love and the support and the education. You taught me so much about what was going on with me that I had no idea about. And this is what I mean about, you know, having the right people around you, you know, has been absolutely crucial for me to be where I am now, rather than stuck in a whole alternate universe that I didn't.
And it does feel like that now, doesn't it? Like when you and I look back, like for me, when you and I met, that feels like an alternate universe. And to be able to grow with your friends and your team, and like one of the cultures of IATQB in the community is, you know, when we talk about linking arms and rising up together, it is that we walk the talk, you know, as a team, we walk the talk, as a team, we link arms, as a team, we do all these things. It comes from the inside out. Everything that you guys see at home, which is generally me going live, talking about shit, or selling a program, or facilitating workshops and stuff. But actually the movement itself comes from the team, from the inside out. And it's just something I'm so, so grateful for. What have been the highlights for you in the past couple of years?
Oh, crikey. It's funny. I wrote, I've never been into a lot of woo stuff, as you know. I wrote a CMI in February last year. So just before.
What's a CMI for those people who don't know at home?
Sorry, yes. A clear mental image of, I was really unhappy in that life. And I wrote a clear mental image of what I imagined my life would be in a year. So I think it was like something like 21st of February last year to what it would be like for the 21st of February this year.
So for those of us that are watching at home, this is us that manifest. So those of us that journal, that write out in the now, in the I am this, I am that, I am the other, I'm in my big house and I've got lots of money and I'm doing loads of fab things and all of this sort of stuff. Those people that write out, that's what you had started to do. And this is like Crosley, the mindset technician, introduced some of these concepts to you. And I know he's phenomenal. He's been on the show. He's incredible. But that's what you, so whether you were entering the woo space or not that we're poo-pooing the woo, we love the woo, but you started doing that for the first time. So you wrote this clear mental image. You wrote this visualization of what you wanted your life to look like.
Yeah, and I was encouraged to write stuff about the 5 senses. So what did my life smell like? And what did my life taste like? And what did it sound like? And what did it look like? And what did it feel like? And I wrote out, bearing in mind where I was, the stuff I wrote, I was like, I have no chuffing idea how that is going to happen. And I look at it now and I've got practically everything, you know, my financial target, I've got white bed linen and fairy lights. My children have got bunk beds. I have flowers and perfume and music. And like, I have interesting things in my fridge. And it's ridiculous.
What kind of interesting things do you have?
I've got like garlic and chilies and wine and gin and, you know, just stuff with flavour and alcohol. And it's that, I think, for me, is despite like all of the stuff that's happened, I have a thriving business, I have amazing friends, and all of those things on my CMI, more or less, lockdown has prevented a couple of them, have come true. And I don't know how. I just wrote down, this is what I want my life to be. And I guess subconsciously you start taking small steps to get there. And yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done, but you know, I can see a much happier future now. And I think just going through that and coming out the other side stronger is, I think, the thing that's, it's not a highlight, it's kind of like an overall thing.
An overarching. I think when you start to see, and I think this is important, and this is the work that Michaela Wade does as well, so a huge shout out to Michaela Wade, that when you start to see better for yourself, like if you've not been open to the possibility of anything being any different before, and you suddenly start to see better for yourself or see differently for yourself, it starts to become magnetic anyway, because you've not allowed yourself the space. And I see so many of you doing this and starting to do this now, with those of you watching at home, that up until a certain point, you didn't imagine a life any different than the one that we were kind of conditioned to going through kind of half asleep. And then when you start to open your eyes to it and start to even just visualizing better, that sort of stuff starts to become magnetic. Even very simple things, or these weren't simple things for you 18 months, 2 years ago. Having interesting things in your fridge, having fairy lights around your bed, they weren't simple things for you to actively to do for whatever reason, the situation that you was in previously. So for those of you watching, when you're doing these manifestations, when you're doing these, you know, clear mental imaging, when you're journaling, these successes don't have to be, and I think this is what's really important, Andrew. I don't think you would agree. Do you? That these successes don't have to be 6-figure businesses and international, intergalactic travel, and you know, it doesn't have to be this. It could be as simple as, I want to be able to take a Wednesday afternoon off because I've got clients that really understand that sometimes I need to hit the button. Like I'm okay. Like I've built my business in such a way that the people around me have my back. I've built my business in such a way that I earn enough to not be able to worry about my bills anymore. My fridge has got chili in it, or you know, like those are as big a success when that's been your position of rising up. Those are as big of a success as smashing a 16K launch, or because it's a trajectory all the time, isn't it?
And like I said, you know, I wasn't fully signed up to this CMI thing. Somebody told me to write it. It was Michaela, actually.
And
so I did. And I didn't really believe it all. I think I just was like, I trusted the people around me who said, do these things, read the
And
stuff.
you was at a point where you was like, I'll just do.
I was like, okay. And I've done it, and it works. So you can't explain it. But it was, I remember like when I got my white bed linen, it just felt like a really big deal because
you feel like a queen. You're like this, like a starfish on the bed.
Yeah, I didn't sleep very well in my bed because I was like thrashing about like a starfish, and I was.
There's a lot of it when you've been used to like doing this.
Yes. And then suddenly, when I could thrash about in bed, I couldn't sleep. But that's a different story.
So Anna, what have been, so there have been challenges, you know, personally, there have been challenges around COVID. What are the challenges working for somebody like me?
For start, like my work doesn't feel like work. I think it's like sometimes I can become a little bit too, but I need to know the thing. I need to know the detail. And you are much more big picture, like, oh, it's all fine. And it's just finding that balance. It's finding that balance between trusting your gut instinct for the stuff you do really, really well. And that all my incredible clients do, like they're great at what they do, and they've got that big picture and that vision and that drive. And it's balancing up, what can I decide for you? So sometimes there's just little decisions that I can just make for you.
Take away from me.
Just take them. Or sometimes it's like, no, I need you to either know this or understand this or having some input into this. And it's just that balance between bothering you with the little stuff when it's important, or just taking that away, and then just trusting. Like the thing I've learned is, if the business owner isn't losing sleep over a thing, then I don't need to lose sleep over the thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not really a challenge. It's just about the balance between, you know, our very, very different ways of doing things. Yeah. But then that's why you have the team you do, because we all have our part to play in, as I think I said, keeping the wings flapping.
Yeah, like this.
The wings flapping. So it's important to have that. Like if I was like you, it wouldn't work, because you don't need another you. You're you.
Yeah, and I think when people first start to lead, they will often want to bring people in who are most like them, because they enjoy each other's company. Mm. And I mean, it helps that you and I both enjoy each other's company anyway, and we like hanging out together, and we have this great friendship as well. But where my strengths fail, your strengths really flourish. So being in a strengths-based leadership model, which is what we're in, where all of us, so we've got Wallace and his incredible creativity and his technical knowledge, and, you know, his ability to look after things from a graphic point of view, you with your incredible attention to detail, and you just know, you're like got a photographic memory, like you just know things, like you know everything that I need you to know, you know, so I don't have to worry about it, so I haven't got things keeping me up at night. And then we've got Danielle, who looks after she kind of helps me filter the big picture stuff into more actionable, keeping me safe. So strategy stuff. Yeah, exactly that. So to be in a strengths-based leadership model that we're in here at IATQB is an absolute joy, and I think that's really what you bring, and that's what I want to kind of share with everybody, that when you have somebody like Anna in your life, it can only elevate you. And don't be frightened if you are building team. Don't be frightened of employing against your strengths, because you need to, in order for all of the pieces to fit together. So this is a very public thank you for you being bloody marvelous, Anna Foxx.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I remember one of the things you said to me was, if anyone else bossed you the way I did, you wouldn't take it.
No, that's why we needed to be friends first, so that you know what my limits are, and I know that I can roll my eyes and you won't get too upset, because I think that's something like at the first she was like, oh, I'm upsetting you, or you'd apologize, and I'm like, no, I need you, I'm mad at myself. If I'm mad, it's a reflection on me than it is on you. Like, the reason why you're here for this part of the business is because you're telling me the things that I don't want to know. I don't want to know him, but I have to know them, otherwise I'm not going to be a savvy business owner. I'm not going to be able to scale. I can't. So yeah, I think that having someone, I'm not very good at being managed, And I was saying yesterday, I don't like managing people. That's not like, I'm not a manager. That's not what I am. That's not what I do. So you being able to manage me is a necessary evil for all of us in order for me to do things that I need to do.
It's a pleasure. It's just, I remember when that very first phone call I ever had with you, when I was slightly terrified, I was slightly in awe. It's like, oh my God, it's Dani Wallace. And, you know,
God.
and, you know, you absolutely live what you teach about, you know, the festooning and the rising up, and, you know, and I now stand like shoulder to shoulder with you rather than like gazing up at you in awe. I am in awe of you as my friend and as just a phenomenal human, but it
helps that I've snot cried at you a few times though.
Yeah, it's a very equal, mutually respectful relationship. So it's just a joy. And like seeing you talk about my trajectory, I mean, Christ, seeing yours has just been such a privilege to witness. You know, I remember where you were when we met, and I see where you are now, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, it's a loving. You mentioned it to a loving. Anna, what have you got coming up? Have you got capacity for more work, or are you full to the brim now? What's next for you? I'm asking you that quite publicly because I know that's something that often when you get there, when you've been in survival for so long, looking at that next little bit's quite daunting. And often when we have people on the show, Anna, I'll ask them what they're doing next, and like, yeah, I've got this and I've got that and I've got the other, and come and buy my stuff. And I know that that's not what this conversation is, but what do you feel is coming next for you? What can you, as part of your next CMI, which you may not have taken some time to have a look at, what would that look like for you?
So I'm actually going through, look at you, you're like, I've asked the question. So I'm actually going through some like personal counselling at the moment to help me deal with what's happened. And so I'm kind of protecting some space for myself right now for that.
Yes.
But I am going to be working with Ian Dixon to look out where I need to go next and what I need to do. So as a freelance PA, I have been up to this point very much in the time in exchange for money model.
Yeah.
And I know, Dani, as you are always a leader of things, you know, we've now got a different working relationship where it's not just about the number of hours I work. It's about the value I bring to the team and to the business. So I have given the heads up to a couple of my clients that this is coming, but where I need to go next is looking at what is it that I do for them? What value do I bring to their business? And stop feeling like I need to flog myself. It's not flogging because I love what I do, but that being driven by I have to for money because I have to earn the money, because I have to pay the bills. So it's just changing that whole mindset, because I'll share this bit. When Dani and I first negotiated, I tried to knock her down on the price because I said, I don't do that much work for you and you can't pay me that much, because that's not right. And when she explained to me about like the whole mindset of it, I was like, okay. But then I do remember the first time Dani put a price out and she kind of swallowed it. And
it made me feel sick. First time I put my prices up or changed my pricing model. But again, from a culture point of view, I wouldn't be walking in truth if my team weren't doing the things that I tell my clients to do. And I can see you guys, like some of you are my clients. We have had conversations about pricing and conversations about value and exchange of time for money. And I wouldn't be able to help people charge it's not charging their worth, because you're worth so much more than money. But when you start to see that for yourself and you start to do that, it's right. That's got to come from the inside in. That's got to happen right the way across the team. And if that happening in one space then allows you to open that up for yourself, then that's the next bit of growth for you, right?
Yeah. So it's just changing my mindset to how I see myself and how I position myself within my clients' teams and businesses. And actually just doing some personal development, because as we discussed the other day, Dani, you know, pre-lockdown, there was lots of stuff going on. There was workshops and there was meetups and there were conferences. And through lockdown, there hasn't been very much input. And it's just kind of getting back out and like topping ourselves back up again, because we've probably all of us done a lot of giving and not very much receiving and topping up. So, but yes, I do need to write a new CMI, because the one I've got is done. Tick.
It's done.
Done.
You've ticked it off. We need a new one. I'm
I need
excited.
a new one.
Well, Anna, when you have done that and when you've started to tick off the next lot, will you come back on the show to have another conversation with us? Of
course
about?
I will. That'd be a pleasure. And this hasn't been as scary as I thought it might be.
I told you it wasn't.
It's just having a chat.
It's exactly that. Exactly that. Anna Foxx, I love you dearly. Thank you so much for being such an integral part of IATQB. And I know that we're only just getting started as well, even though it feels like we've done so much already, because we have done so much, but there is so much more to do. And I'm so happy that you get to be my wing woman as we make all of that stuff happen.
Aww.
If anyone wants to find out more about you and what it is that you do, Anna, what can they do?
That's a tricky question because much as I look after all of my clients, I don't always look after my own admin, and my website is currently not working. So yes, I'm a sausage. So just, I don't know.
Reach out via me or reach out via Anna. It's all good. I'm just going to keep it all to myself. But yeah, do reach out. She's an incredible person to have in your life. You guys, I know for those of you that are, a close member of the community or a client of mine, you will deal with Anna on the regular. So show her some love, please. Anna Foxx, everybody.
Thank you, Dani.
So there we go, a little peep on the inside of our team today with the glorious Anna Foxx. Thank you so much to Anna for joining me, and thank you so much to all of you for joining me this morning on the Short Wise at Rise Up show. We only have 2 shows left before we take a break, y'all. I'm feeling a little bit sick about it. I'm feeling a bit sick about stepping away from my baby for a couple of weeks, but even as we speak, we've got Wallace right at this moment in time working on the new show in its newest guise. We've got the production team working, squirreling away in the background on providing an awesome lineup for you. Shout out, there are only 3 days left to book your space on the Summer Swarm. If you want to work with me directly in a room on your strategy for only £347 plus VAT, it's ridiculous because these groups are tiny, small. So you've got my eyes in and on, sleeves up on your business for the next 6 months to 12 months. Get yourself booked on. If you want more details, put Swarm in the comments or head on over to the IATQB Hive. Just type in IATQB Hive into Facebook. Come and join the group and come and get your space booked on the Summer Swarm. We have got, I'll just double check in terms of dates so you know where I am on what date. If you are in Scotland, then Monday is your day. I am in Glasgow at the Malmaison on Monday. On Wednesday next week, pardon me, I am in Manchester at the Clock Tower for all things Summer Swarm. Then the week after, I will be in London on the 6th of July and then in Birmingham on the 8th of July. So that is where I'm going to be over the next couple of weeks, you guys. If you want to be in the room where it happens, get yourself a space booked and let's get your strategy sorted for the summer on into autumn and winter next year, so you are ready to rip it up after the doors open from lockdown. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me as we take a gear up to a little break. Joining me tomorrow on the show, don't miss it. We've got the fabulous Kylie Carter joining us, talking to us about the mum juggle. And then I'm flying solo on Friday, taking a look back over the last 18 months on the Short Wise at Rise Up show. In the meantime, go and follow me on the Instagram at the Queen Bee Dani. We are 70 away from 4,000 followers. Please, will you do me a favor and help me get that 4K by the end of the week? I will be so happy to celebrate that with you on Friday. 70 followers in a few days. We could do that, can't we? Come on, squad. We've got this. I love you. See you tomorrow for more Showing Up, Wising Up.